This is a message to ex-members of Carbonnation. I hope this message reaches you and you can consider it. Some of you have blocked us and have chosen to not engage with us directly, which is why I'm making this video publicly in hopes that it may reach some of you. A different perspective should not be a threat, especially if you're solid about your own. If you feel resonance, you may consider exploring it further. If not, simply disregard it. You may find yourself in a confusing space. Perhaps you feel supported, or maybe you prefer not to think about it at all. Only you know what truly happened in your experience with Nature Boy and Carbonnation, and only you get to decide what it means for you and your life. There will be many voices that will come to tell you what to think, how to feel, and what to make of the situation, but they weren't there. You were. Many people will support you under the condition that you will oppose Nature Boy and everything that Carbonnation represented. Just remember, when they compliment you on your talents, your articulation, your courage, that they only do so under the premise that it supports their own ideologies and beliefs, or at the very least that it doesn't echo anything that Nature Boy ever taught. They don't really fuck with you. They merely wish to weaponize you as an ally in their own mission to destroy something they're vehemently against. So while the support is present while you speak out and oppose Nature Boy, see if that continues once you stop discussing it or change your stance. The moment that you for a second begin to insinuate that there was even one iota of positivity to Nature Boy, you will see their script change. They do not wish a balanced judgment. They desire complete and blind annihilation. But that's them. When it comes to those who were actually there and a part of it, you have to ask yourself some things. Why did I go to Carbonnation? Was I truly manipulated and coerced? Or was there a part of me that felt a deep resonance with something? Why did I leave Carbonnation? Was it because I didn't agree with anything that was ever taught or discussed? Or was it because my feelings were hurt? What do I want for my life? To return to the way of life that made me feel incomplete, purposeless, and had me go to Carbonnation in the first place? Or to continue what beliefs I still feel alignment to and drop that which I do not? Who was Nature Boy? What did he represent? And what was he here to teach me? Maybe you say nothing. He was just a predator and manipulator. If so, what allowed him to manipulate you? What characteristics did you lack and perhaps still lack that allowed that to play out? What desires of your own did you have that blinded you from seeing the misalignment and acting on it? You can drop all the beliefs and pretend like it never happened, but what if that is who you are? What if you do desire spiritual understanding? What if you do want to live more naturally? What if you do believe in astrology, etc.? One thing I noticed about myself and everyone that went to Carbonnation is that we all went for our own selfish reasons. Some were escaping responsibility. Others wanted to get back to nature. There were those who wanted the status and notoriety, those who sought physical healing, and some were just intrigued by it and wanted to quench their curiosity. This is so important to sort out because you have to decide how you want to move forward. Do you want to move forward as a victim of a situation you chose to be a part of and live in the shadow of Carbonnation? Or do you want to use the experience to unlock the parts of you that were summoned by the intensity of the situation? The irony is that Nature Boy and Carbonnation still continues to fuel all those who oppose it strongly. Even some of the channels like the T and King World rely on it for a source of energy. You've seen them try to share their own lives and perspectives and then quit when they didn't get the same level of engagement or views as the Carbonnation content. Is that what you want for yourself? To only get attention when you discuss that situation? If you don't, you'll have to craft something for your life that holds a similar gravitational force, and that is going to require immense dedication, discipline, and commitment. I believe there's no difference whether you give your attention to something because you love it or because you oppose it. As long as you remain focused on it, you feed into it and keep it alive and help to grow it. I'll give you an example. Traditional hunters keep animals alive because they rely on them as a food source. So people may say that if you love animals, don't kill them. But paradoxically, when you rely on something to fuel you and give you life, you have a vested interest in keeping the species alive, because otherwise, without it, you die and wither away. Same with this. Anyone who relies on Nature Boy, whether from a love or opposition standpoint, has a vested interest in keeping the gossip, the investigation, the group, and ultimately him alive, whether they know it or not. When Grace and I left, we chose to take ownership of the situation we were a part of. And that didn't mean saying, sorry for the actions that we took and the things we said when we were brainwashed. That's not accountability. Instead, we analyzed what attracted us to the situation in the first place and made peace with the fact that who we were at Carbonnation is who we've always been. But in the context of pressurized situations, you get to reveal yourself fully. And I think a lot of us didn't like what we saw. So of course, we blame the catalyst, Nature Boy. Truth is, people were already abusive, cowards, promiscuous, combative, arrogant, irresponsible, etc. long before they ever heard of a Nature Boy. He just brought that out even more and put it on camera. Likewise, people were already articulate, smart, creative, funny, confident, and dedicated, etc. before they stumbled on Nature Boy. He also brought that out of people as well and displayed it to the world. If you want to learn more about why energies like Nature Boys exist from a spiritual perspective, coming from a source completely detached from this particular situation, check out the writings of Carlos Castaneda on Petty Tyrants that are linked below in the description. There are two main categories of perspectives that you can take. One is the clinical perspective, to attribute a pathology and diagnosis to a person and rationalize the surface of the situation. He was a narcissist, an authoritative leader who manipulated innocent adults who were victimized by his delusional ideologies. Another perspective is the spiritual perspective, which is to ask the questions I proposed earlier and to seek deeper understanding through the highest perspective possible, beyond what the popular culture of the world would care to ask. Just like our ancestors would see an eagle and it would be a totem to them, it's part of our nature to give deeper meaning to the seemingly mundane as a reflection of our own internal journeys. Modern science would deduce all understanding to a particular systemized observation, which isn't wrong, but it's not the only perspective or the most helpful. So, I hope you consider some of the things that I shared today. And remember, regardless of your stance or perspective on a situation, carbonation was a rare experience that I believe most will only be able to appreciate many years from now. Don't squander it listening to the voices and perspectives that aren't empowering you to live your ideal life. Please don't hesitate to reach out. We're always here for any of you. And I'll leave you with a quote from Lao Tzu in the Tao Te Ching. Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. Stay balanced.